The land is our foundation, and land synergy is here to solidify and restore. Join us as we connect the dots of land restoration, sustainable practices, and self-sufficiency. It's time to get rooted.
Welcome back to Land Synergy, guys. Today we are talking about some items under under the self-sufficiency outline. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. So as of recently, guys, my dad has been doing a lot of canning, and he's been canning like sausages and vegetables and whatnot. And this has inspired me because I'd like to get into this as well. And so from speaking to him, my dad is subscribed to some of the more survivalist insights slash outlooks. He wants to be prepared, and for him, stocking up food, I guess, fulfills that need. And so we feel like, there's nothing wrong with having I feel like everyone should have a pantry of food that they can rely on, especially this past year. And even this year, we've had some cold spells to where the power was affected, water was affected. And, that week, or for some people, weeks, could spell the end if they don't have things in place. And so with that said, we want to talk a little bit about canning and just our experience and what we're learning. So if you haven't or are unfamiliar with canning, it is essentially preserving food. There is specific ways, which we won't get into in this episode, but the premise is basically that you save food and you can it. Now, the approach I like about canning is that you can actually can fresh foods, and you can can multiple types of food, from meats to vegetables, eggs, all kinds of stuff. And the reason why I'm a fan of this approach is because you don't necessarily have to worry about some of the BPA or other contaminants that could be in traditional canned foods. The the manufactured type foods that are scaled on the types of canned foods that are made on a global scale, industrial level. I feel like there's a lot of things within those canned foods that, if you got to eat it and it's all you had, cool. I'm okay with that. But I feel like it's definitely, long term, you'd want to have something that you could build upon, not necessarily just stock, industrial canned food. So that's why I'm, investing into canned food, and I'm excited about getting into it. And yeah, it's just so much you can do around it. And I think the benefits is essentially the peace of mind that you can get just from canning your own food. And if you are like, you have anxiety about maybe what's going on in the world, maybe governmental issues, maybe even local issues, maybe political or what is it? I'm blanking a little. What is it? The food and input supply chains. There we go. Thanks for working with me. Supply chains. If you're worried about supply chains, all of those things, they add up. And I feel like action cures fear. So the action of simply canning food and having it put away gives you the peace of mind to remain present and allow you to build in the present moment, as compared to being within your head and ruminating on these thoughts of this and that, keeping you stuck and perpetuate in a state of anxiety and stress that thus leads to more stress in the present moment, because you're not here in the moment with your family, your job, or whatever else is going on, and that leads to dis-ease. So I feel like canning is just one approach that you could take. And this is along the lines of self-sufficiency. At the end of the day, you have to be willing to invest in yourself and a foundation for you and your family in case something happened. And It's just that peace of mind, even if it never happens or nothing happens on that level to where you need to use stored food primarily, etc. At least you have the peace of mind knowing that if something did happen, you would be prepared. Like when Russia invaded Ukraine and other political issues that became widespread and global, and they're all over the news. I mean, that's perpetuating a lot of this imbalance within people, and they're probably like, well, "Damn, World War III and all this is about to happen, this and that." I mean, think about that, and then boom, here you are, knowing that you've invested in a foundational aspect to your homestead or your property or wherever you're at. You've invested in yourself in the form of canned food, and or even tools, etc., whatever, resources, savings, whatever. You've invested in it. Guess what? All that's coming down the pipe, John, you're like, okay, well, I'm ready for it. Hell, some people might be like, yes, now I get to use the stuff that I've been preparing so much for. So it's like that in itself, guys, is worth its weight in gold. What I'm referencing specifically here is the peace of mind that you can obtain from simply investing in these items. And when I say these items, I'm particularly saying yourself, because canning is only an extension of yourself. The act of canning is in itself coming from you. And so investing in yourself will ultimately yield these dividends, so to speak. And so with that said, as we continue to move forward, a lot of our past episodes have been around gardening, because that's what we've been doing. We've been gardening. We've been putting a lot of that together. But we're also stepping into some self-sufficiency roles within our life. And this podcast, as you guys know, is built around restoring the land. That's a big aspect of our why with this podcast. Self-sufficiency, being able to take care of yourself, your family, and your community. And then gardening. But gardening is such a broad term. It's more like growing your own food, permaculture, all those umbrellas. And I might actually have to change it. But with that said, guys, those three umbrellas, if you enjoy these types of episodes, continue to tune in, because we got a lot more coming. We got a lot more coming. And it's coming from experience, guys. We're not just on here talking theoretically. We're also speaking practically. So let's go ahead. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a like, comment, subscribe. Check out the links below. Check out the website, etc. And until the next one, continue to keep synergizing, guys. And I'll talk to you guys soon.